had circumstances been a little different, it wouldn't be me pushing the wheelchair today. It would be me sitting in it. You see, in the year of 2001, I received a very unfortunate news. I was told that I had developed this very, very weird illness. It's called MS, multiple sclerosis. I don't even know what the name means. Multiple sclerosis? There's many of something, but I didn't know what it was. The way that I received the news was by a devastating event that ended my natural life. I could no longer move or be who I was. I was suddenly handicapped because the entire left side of my body shut down. My vision was going away. My hearing was going away. And the most painful thing is that my sense of touch was going away. I could no longer feel people with my left hands. I could no longer feel that I was standing on the ground. Everything just felt so unnatural. I didn't feel like myself anymore. So why did this happen? As a scientist, you heard it, I'm a rocket scientist. As a scientist, I always knew, since I was a baby, that there was a reason for everything. I was the why baby. I was always asking my parents, I remember getting on my dad's nerves because I would always ask him, but why? Why this? Why that? Why that? So when you receive news like this, of course, my first question was going to be, why? But most importantly, why me? So what does MS look like? You might know somebody that has this condition. You see, if you take an MRI of the brain of anybody here, anybody's MRI would probably look like this. It's a cut right through this section of the head. You see the gray matter of the brain. You see the eyes and some of the cavities in the head. But MS looks actually like this. It looks like these little white spots on this slide because that is where the myelin, that is the insulation that is around the nerves, is being eaten away. But who's eating it away? You are eating it away. You, the person that has MS, is eating it away. But why? Remember, that's my question. And I found the answer to be so diverse because it didn't just have to do with a physical illness. It had to do with the way that I felt about myself. And it also had to do with the way that I thought about myself in the world. So I began the search. As I said, 2001 was the year where this appeared. So I said, this cannot continue this way. Because I had a dream. And the dream was to be an astronaut. I wanted to go to space. So the draw of the dream was more powerful than the circumstances that I was living. And I was never pessimistic. And I never used the illness to be a victim of life. I was in control of my life. And thus, I had the power to make what wasn't there yesterday go away tomorrow. Maybe the MS could be here today, but it's not going to be in my future. And that is what led me on the most beautiful path that I've ever lived on. The path back to my health. So how did I do this? People ask me. You see, I'm standing on my own 2 feet today. I don't have a wooden leg. This is actually my leg. And I'm not sitting in this thing anymore. How did I do it? That's the question. 2.5 million people on Earth suffer from this condition. And there's an institute in the United States called the IONS, the Institute of Noetic Sciences. They have this project called Instantaneous Remission. And MS has not been cataloged in that research. Would that make me the first one? I don't believe so. I've come across people, especially in the medical field, who have seen this happen before. And that's why I'm here today, to tell you it's not just about MS. It's about anything. You see, your body never lies to you. If you have a cold, it's trying to tell you something. If you have acne, it's trying to tell you something. If you have depression, it's trying to tell you something. And if you have MS, it's definitely trying to tell you something. So what was it trying to tell me? And here it goes. I cut it down in 3 parts. I said, let's take a look at the physical body. I came across this guy. His name is Dr. Glidden. And he said that the body that has MS has some very special characteristics that make it prone to be a developer of MS. He said it's very simple down to two things. First one, excessive oxidative damage in the body. Second, an insufficient consumption of essential fatty acids. The formula is that simple. A plus B equals C. So let's take care of the body. What brings in oxidative damage into the body? And one of the greatest factors that I found was fried food. God, I love French fries. I love them. But, McDonald's French fries are amazing. I love them. I love fried chicken. I'm from the United States. We have fried chicken. It's the best thing you can ever have, right? Your grandma makes it for you. But I had to give it away. Because when you fry food, the oxidative index goes up a lot. I'm not saying 10 times. I'm saying in the hundreds. So I had to watch out for this. I eliminated this. As I said, my dream of being healthy tomorrow was more powerful than the sacrifice to have a special eating habit. So I eliminated that. Something else that incorporates or brings in a lot of oxidative damage into the body, oil in a bottle, even coconut oil. Bet you didn't know that, did you? Everybody says it's the greatest miracle. It is for certain things, but watch out how you use it. You see, educate yourself about how to be healthy, and then you'll start knowing how to do the right choices. So I eliminated that. And then the other part was this essential fatty acid. You see, 75% of the brain is made out of healthy fat. The only problem is we don't eat healthy fat, we eat not good fat. So things like omega-3s, these supplements, or things that the omega-3s that come in fish, can also help with this condition. The other part is knowing how to nutrify yourself. The food that we eat today is depleted of nutrients. So we need to choose things that are organic. I'm not saying don't eat meat. Meat is great. It's delicious, right? Who doesn't like a good steak? I do, sometimes. But we have to learn to choose our food. Just like we have to learn to choose the things about our life correctly. See, we're not here just on a journey to see, okay, well, I got about 100 years in my life, so I'm just going to coast. I'm going to go to school. But who cares? No, life has meaning. There's a purpose for you being here. Each one of you has a very important reason, and the main task you have on this life is to find why you're here. Whether it's a speaker, whether it's somebody that cleans toilets. Believe it or not, I did it recently. When I started writing my book, I left NASA for a while, and I said, I'm going to go challenge my ego. And I went to a spiritual retreat center in Sedona, and I made beds, and I made the laundry and made food for other people, and I cleaned toilets, and I lived in a little cabin. And that was an amazing experience because it humbled me and it put my feet back into the ground, and it allowed me to write a wonderful book that's about to be published. So that's how you take care of your body. You start here. Reduce oxidative damage, sleep more, and reduce your stress. Because that leads me into the second part of the equation, your emotions. You see, your emotions drive your levels of cortisol, which is the fight or flight mode. If you're always ready to defend yourself because you're always in a hurry, you're never going to have time to chill, to make life meaningful. So having these elevated levels of cortisol, medical science has told us that they lead into a series of diseases. So we need to lower those levels of cortisol. We have to learn to control our emotions. And the pathway into the emotions was exactly my recipe for the MS. You see, why did I have it on my left side? Because psychology has told us that the left side of the body has to do with feelings, and that the right side has to do more with reason. So I knew that my feelings had the clue for my healing. But it didn't stop there. I went to the next part of me, and that was my mind, my thoughts. You see, all the time, we have thoughts that we don't even control, we don't even see. How many times do you have self-judging thoughts? How many times do you think that there's something wrong with you? there is nothing wrong with you. Everything is right with you. We just believe, because of the influence in the mass movement, that we are not okay. But how do we find the change in our thoughts? And I found the clue in the following thing. And the following thing is called stillness. You see, I believe that the greatest epidemic today is not heart disease, it's not cancer, it's hurry. We go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, and life is never meaningful if you're always hurrying and rushing to do everything. You see, life is meaningless without stillness. Everything you do will only have meaning if you stop and say, what am I doing and why am I doing this? Where am I going? We need moments of stillness to integrate our lives back into ourselves. I invite you to consider this point. So I had recovered. In a year and a half, I was able to make all the symptoms go away. Nobody could find them anymore. So what do you do when life gives you a second chance? I was a very shy person when I was young. And I had only one thing in my thoughts. And I said, I'm going to try the impossible. And the impossible for me was to dance, because I was a horrible dancer. And not only that, but I ended up teaching dance at the most unlikely place in the world, which was connected with my dream of being an astronaut. Believe it or not, I ended up teaching at NASA. So then what? In the year of 2011, I came across a person who was said to be one of the most spiritually influential people on earth. His name is Dyer. And when he heard my story of healing, he said, Miguel, I want you to write a book, and I'm going to write the foreword to it. Actually, today, Wayne and I had a date back in the United States in Phoenix because he was giving a conference, and I was going to deliver the manuscript to my book. But Wayne passed away on August 30th of this year. Back in 2004, when I first heard him talk, he mentioned a quote from Michelangelo, which is my other name, Michelangelo, that's my name as well. And he said, the greatest danger is not that our hopes are too high and we fail to reach them, is that they are too low, and we do. So how can I set my hopes up? If dreaming of being an astronaut was what led me out of that wheelchair, what else could I do? And of course, NASA was the answer. I gave a talk with Wayne. He invited me to be with him. And we developed a beautiful friendship. And his inspiration led me to do something that would allow me to connect to the world in a new way. As I said, what do? You continue living your dream. You continue to connect. So how did I connect? What did I connect to? And I connected to one of the most phenomenal experiences that we as human beings have. That is floating in microgravity. See, NASA has this thing, this airplane that pitches up and down like this, and every time that it does it, guess what you do inside? You float like this, like you're in space. Only a few thousand people have ever done this, and I received the opportunity because I followed my dream. And the dream is right here, coming true. Not only that, it didn't end there. I invented something to safeguard the life of astronauts. And my invention is in space right now. It'll be there for decades. Isn't that amazing? So what do? You connect to the world, as I said. But why? Because in feeling the world, you find yourself. You see, when I fly airplanes, I'm a pilot, I find the freedom that I had to conquer my fears. In jumping out of an airplane, I feel the same. I do it all for meaning and with meaning, and I always meditate. I simply just like floating. You see, I have this thing with floating. Not only do I look for connection in the heights of the earth, but I also look for it underneath, and I get to dive with the most fearful creatures, but what I found are the most beautiful creatures on earth. Sharks. These guys are my allies and my best friends, and I want to protect them. Every time that I look into their eyes, as you will in a minute, I see myself. I see that wisdom is gentleness. That fear is just an illusion, and it's just a shadow that as close as you get to a shadow, the closer you get, the shadow disappears. And through music, I find the joy of being. But what is doing all these things without having a moment of silence and introspection. And that is the message that I want to give you here. We need to learn to be within. It is not just about having an illness and finding yourself inside. It's about finding yourself inside in every moment. And feeling that connection to the world, feeling one as one little speck in the vastness of life, but feeling that you're here for a reason. I'm going to invite you now to do something with me. See, I'm a yoga teacher. And as that, I like to meditate. I teach people how to do this. And I want you to meditate with me today, because I feel that in the midst of this event that happened in Romania, we need to go within to find the answers we're looking for. Because we're all wondering why it happened. And I think that if we go within, doing what I'm about to show you, we're going to start finding those answers. So I invite you to close your eyes for a minute. This will be short. And take a deep breath with me. And I'm going to guide you on the shortest meditation that I think exists. These are words of wisdom. You see, all that the universe asks of you is for you to feel it. Because if we don't feel the universe, we will not know it. And what man doesn't know, he destroys. But what he feels, he understands. And what he understands, he knows. And what he knows, he loves. And what he loves, he protects. And that is exactly how we change the world. My name is Miguel Castillo. Thank you very much.
They like that.